is the fantastic Chef Vandenberg. Chef, we had a great compound day in Antalya. Are you expecting the same here?
I'm at least hoping for the same, and I'm really excited to see what we can expect today.
So time for the compound women's team gold medal match, and it's straight down to the shooting line here in Shanghai.
On target number 1, representing the Republic of Korea,
1号靶位韩国队
Oh Yu-hyun, Song Chae-won, Song Yun-soo, on target number 2, representing Mexico,
2号靶位墨西哥队
Andrea Becerra, Ana Sofia Hernandez Leon, Daphne Quintero. The line judge for this matchup is
骑车线裁判
Rupesh Kar.
Well, they were missing in Antalya, but they're certainly not missing here. Chef, let's start. Korea are back.
Yeah, Korea are back, and maybe what's more interesting is that they're back in the compound division. Immediately, the first match of the day, we're seeing the Korean ladies with their new coach, Rio Wild, in the coaching box. So his debut as Korean coach in the finals venue.
It's not a very Korean-sounding name, that, Rio Wild.
No, Rio Wild is a American. He's from the USA, and he has been appointed compound coach of the Korean archery team.
Having an effect already. It will be Korea to start this compound women's team gold medal match. First up, Song Yun-soo.
9, 9.
So good start from the Koreans. We do 2 rotations through the teams. Korea have had their first set of arrows, 1 per archer. We switch over to the first half of the Mexican starting lineup. Daphne Quintero starting things off with a 10.
And it's going to be interesting to see if the wind is going to play any factor in this match, because typically speaking, like historically speaking, it's been very windy in this venue. So we're back in this venue after a couple of years in a different one in the financial district, but now we're next to the river again, and typically with that open river on the side, you'll get some winds to play a part in the matches. So,
well, the weather's played a big factor here.
Yeah, not only in this match, but also the rest of the week we've seen wind in the stadium, which is always difficult because it's like twirling. And then also we've seen torrential rain, where people were quite literally soaked to the bone. So yeah, it's not been an easy week in terms of weather circumstance.
They'll be pretty happy with the conditions today, won't they?
Yeah, it's a nice 22 degrees Celsius, so I think most people would find that comfortable to shoot in.
But like you say, it's a bit blustery and it's very different on the shooting line compared to 50 metres down the range. So that one's just cut the line. So marked as a 9 for a measure. 56, perhaps 57. Mexico have 59 in their reach. And there's John shooting in the middle for the Mexicans.
A little bit of a reaction there with her shot. I think it was no surprise to her that that was going to hit a bit left. So since this is a compound match, it is cumulative scoring rather than set scores, and that means that we'll have 24 arrows just all counted up, rather than having 6 arrows against 6 arrows and then having the set scores. So the 2 points difference that they have now, or 2 or 1, will keep being those 2 points.
射完双方各打出6支箭，现在总屏幕上看的成绩是韩国队57环，墨西哥队58环。
Oh, Mexico archer for archer, the same outfit that we saw in Antalya only weeks ago, leaving the Turkish coast, Konya Alta Beach, and the turquoise coast with a bronze medal. They're going to upgrade their medal this time around. Will it be gold or will it be silver? Moving into end number 2 in a matter of moments, the Republic of Korea will shoot first on target 1.
1号靶的韩国队在2022年麦德林世界杯上获得了铜牌。
Already through in the first end here in Shanghai. And as you can see, and as Chef was saying, Mexicans just a single point ahead in this cumulative score competition. Korea, by virtue of trailing, will shoot first in the second.
9.
9.
And although Rio Wild has only been coaching in Korea for a little bit, you can already see a bit of influence there in terms of technique. Previously, the compound archers of Korea kind of looked like recurve archers just holding a compound bow, and I feel like there's a bit more like compound style going on with the position in the wrist and the position of the body. A little bit more of a lean, maybe not as much as Rio used to have a lean himself, but it's a different dynamic, yeah, to put it like that.
Nine.
9.
And it seems like the shooting line is quite covered from the wind. There's a couple tents, a couple buildings around, and you can definitely see the flags wave around a bit, and that will, yeah, have an effect on the arrow. But on the shooting line, it seems like it's not too bad.
10.
10环。10。
So we switch back to the second rotation of the Koreans with everything all square.
9.
9。
9.
9。
Side dip under the middle. but then she tried to fix it and managed to still get a 9.
10.
10环。
Mexicans mean business here, though, don't they?
Yeah, they're shooting shooting the lights out so far. But they have been shooting very high scores in the matches leading up to this
10.
as well. So I think they're here with one thing in mind, and that's the gold medal.
Well, there it is, Team Mexico upping the ante right there, taking advantage of an opportunity coming into the end with a 1-point advantage, now consolidating their dominant position indeed after 12 arrows shot on both sides of the field of play. A 3-point advantage for Team Mexico. A perfect time to take a look at the qualification.
Well, it was a great sign of intent there from the Mexican team.
Yeah, they're shooting really well, and they're not taking their foot off the gas. Even though they're getting some space by the Korean team, they're just doing their own thing, and they're continuing to shoot the way they want to shoot, and I think that's the best way to go about it.
You talked about the effect, the wild effect, let's call it, that Rio has had on this Korean team. You mentioned to me that a lot of what he's bringing to the party is, like you said, as you put it, sort of adapting or modifying the shooting style from a recurve type style to a compound type style. But you've also talked about tuning the equipment.
Yeah, equipment is definitely a factor in compound shooting, also in recurve shooting, but more so in compound shooting, I think, because it's very important that you have a very consistent setup, and that your arrows actually hit where you're aiming. So I think what Rio brought to Korea is mostly knowledge about tuning and equipment, but also technique. And I think the short-term advantages that we're seeing right now, the short-term gains, are mostly equipment, because it's difficult to get short-term gains from technique changes.
Three-point deficit, though, for the Koreans at the halfway stage of this match.
10.
It really is nice to see the Korean archers shoot here again.
9.
9。
Of course, they missed the first World Cup in Antalya, but that's because they were doing their trials still for the season.
Yeah, they still needed to figure out who was going here. I think maybe not here, I don't know actually, but at least their selections for the rest of the season. And yeah, I think the Korean selections are very tough, and they do it very extensively, so they know they're gonna have a good team on the line. Although it seems like whoever they pick from the top, I don't know, 30 archers that they have, it would be a good choice, so it's difficult.
Their prevalence in recurve archery well known, but with the changes they've had in the season break, their compound team looking just as good as the recurve side of the Korean division. But Mexico, they kind of knew it was coming, didn't they?
Yeah, they expected this, and yeah, they're just shooting really well. They're shooting a high score just for an elimination match, let alone a gold medal match in this, or yeah, a gold medal match in this team event. So if they can keep this up, they're currently just matching the scores of Korea, which is plenty to you know, get to the end of the match and walk away with the gold. So, and that might be a very costly 8 there.
Yeah, be disappointed with that. Coordinate in venue marked as a 9 right now. So it's a 170 or a 171 as we're showing. 175 available. We'll make that 174 now available to the Mexican team. Youngest member of the Mexican team there, Ana Hernandez John.
And there's a little bit of a different style of shooting between the Korean team and the Mexican team. You can see that the Mexican team typically have their back elbow a bit higher, so it's like a more active style of shooting, whereas the Korean team used to have that, but now that Rio is the coach, I feel like they've gone to more of a passive shooting style where they're more focused on the back part of shooting rather than their front, and it's, I think, the way to go about it with a compound. But yeah, obviously the proof is in the putting, and Mexico is right now leading this match by 3 points, so yeah, it's working.
It's working, that's for sure. One point, I suppose, that's perhaps you'd miss is that Korean and American English are two very different languages. Do you suspect that the Koreans, who are notoriously, they all speak pretty good English, but they're reluctant to speak English because they don't want to make mistakes. Do you think they'll be speaking English, or has Rio learned a bit of Korean?
But I'm guessing that Rio is learning a little bit of Korean, but we know that So Chai-won has a really high level of English, so she is very likely to just communicate in English.
And perhaps act as translator if needed.
Yeah, I guess that she can. She has done it before for interviews with other team members, so yeah, her level of English is good enough to do that.
The question now is, are the Koreans good enough to turn this 3-point deficit around in the final end? It's another situation where you're kind of looking for a mistake from the opponents, aren't you?
Yeah, you need to look for a mistake of the opponents, because on average they haven't missed 3 points per end. So I was gonna say you need a perfect end yourself, and then hope for the other team to miss a couple of arrows, or miss as in not shoot a 10. Yeah, 3 points getting into the last end of the match is a pretty rough place to be in. So something would have to happen for them to tie up this match or even win.
2 nines. I think the Central American team will be thinking here of going for it. 3 arrows that could really ease the pressure.
It's nice to see the communication between the teammates, where you can see and hear that they're constantly talking her through the shot, telling her to stay strong, just focus on the middle. Yeah, I think that's a good way to do this team event, by continually communicating with your teammates, whether it's about the wind or about just encouragement. For most people, communication is key, and some people don't like it when you talk to them while they're in shot, but that's also a matter of communication. As long as you just communicate with your teammates, like, this is what I prefer, this is what I need when I'm in the shot, or like, I think that's the way to win team matches.
So 231 available to the Mexican team. They have room for manoeuvre. As Daphne Quintero starts the last of the rotations, happy with her efforts here. Five tens and 3 nines for Quintero.
A really impressive showing from Hernandez here. She really seems confident and calm in this finals venue, which is impressive.
Yeah, youngest member of the Mexican team, anchored by Andrea Becerra, who puts it up into the 9 for a 2:30 victory. A fantastic performance from the Mexican team, but a great first showing for the Korean compound women's team under the guidance of Rio Wild, collecting the silver medal. Mexico were ready though.